Good morning. Let's see what we got going on today. Morning, Momentum Trader. So I texted Trade Zero support, and they said that I could stream my level 2 no problem. So we can leave that unredacted from now on, which is great. I originally was kind of afraid that if I messaged them, they would tell me that I wasn't allowed to show anything on stream, including my position windows, but we did it in the end. So we have INM popping up here. Canadian biotech, 130% private placement. It's moving very quickly. But we have a big 1 minute selling candle. Or not 1 minute, 10-second selling candle here. We're in a bit of a window here up to 8. It pushes through anyways. Okay. Where does it hold? I have 550. It's got a big range. Huge range. It became our top leading gainer in an instant, but you look at the size of that 1 minute candle, it's 513 down to 345. It's over $1.60 a share range. I have to wait for it to hold up and curl up. 2 million private placement is the news for migraine prevention pipeline. So that first level was 553 on the daily, so it hit a daily level and pulled back. And we have our next daily level around 8. It can pop through high of day again. All these levels down here were from a previous day. Morning, Vito. Morning, Jay. This ends up selling off. I don't think that there is. We'll see if it crawls back up, but I don't think that there was a trade that I missed here. This This had very high volume selling. It popped up anyways, but this wasn't a clean pullback here to buy. Could have just kept going lower. Yeah. Pretty ugly chart now. But it's still our top leading gainer by over... well, actually, no, it's not. Now it's down only 40%. My chart, my scanners didn't update. Almost a full round trip. Wow. So I guess that's that. Morning, Tig. Sometimes the private placement news are a little bit weird. Like 200 million private placement sounds great, and there was a time when private placements would send the stock up 200, 300% every single time. This time it sent it up over 100%, but maybe the news wasn't actually so great. If you look closer into it, we'll see if it curls back up or not. Could be a panic sell-off, but... Morning, Gara Valdez. Hopefully. My goal is to take a trade today. Whether it's red or green, I probably got to stop being a wimp. I'm not going to force a trade if there's no opportunities, but I'm going to try and kind of detach myself from the emotions. If it wins, it wins. If it doesn't, it doesn't. As long as it's part of my setups, I got to take the trade. Yeah, if I don't see setups, I'm not going to force it, but that that missed trade on VIVK yesterday was definitely not good. It kind of reminded me of something. You know, when I used to play FPS games with my friend, we used to play a bit of competitive FPS, and he would always be the leader, and I would kind of be the support. And he would always tell me, he said, I can never get a read on you. He said, I don't know what you're doing half the time. Half the time you hesitate, and then the other half the time you're going full force. But you gotta pick one and stick to it, or I don't know what you're doing. I tend to be a person that is not consistent, and we need consistency here. Just as I did back then when I needed to learn how to be consistent. So there are some parallels going on between my trading and that. And it tells me who I am as a person. So there are some days where I'm like, I'm gung-ho. I want to take a trade. And then there are some days where I'm just too drawn back. But it looks like this isn't coming back up anytime soon. I mean, it's almost already a full round trip. So let's take a look at some other stocks. INLF is now our top leading gainer. I'm going to move this morning. Now it's given back over 50% of the move. We need to get back over 5 in VWAP to be interesting. It's a Chinese stock. It's no news, but Chinese stocks have been a little bit in focus recently. So, I mean, we kind of have a pivot around 5 with both VWAP and these topping tails on these candles. Another level at around 550. So that's something to keep an eye on in case it pops up. It did sell off quite a bit though. I'm going to put this one on a side chart since it's our top leading gainer. Sometimes they surprise us. Got CHAI. Just too cheap for me. Higher float on this one. SXTC, 32 million share float. EHL is too cheap. And everything else has no news, isn't enough up on the day. Looking at continuation here, BMNU, not interesting. HPI, this stock made a huge move yesterday, came back down to 7. This is what, another Chinese stock? Another Chinese stock, yeah, so we got to watch out for Chinese stocks. But this has pulled back too much. NDQ, too expensive. Too many days of continuation. So we really only have INLF on watch. And maybe this if it can crawl back up, but this is a huge maybe. This is like, chart's kind of ruined. So even if it breaks through VWAP, I don't know if I would take this trade. I think it would need to come all the way back up to high of day for me to be interested. I'm not going to be interested in it down here. There's going to be a lot of bag holders on the way up now, considering how much it sold off. Probably going to be a lot of people who jumped in at 5 or 550 or at 450, and they're going to be selling as it's coming up. It does curl. Marking out some daily levels. The problem that I have with CHPI is that it's currently red on the day. It is continuation, so it did make that big move the other day. but it's not enough on the day for it to be obvious to traders. It doesn't have enough volume right now. It's on the backside of this big move. There's going to be a lot of bag holders on the way up. Right on the day, not interesting to me. One other thing to note is that I did look at Webull yesterday after stream, but I don't think I would like trading with Webull Canada. It's a very clear downgrade from TradeZero. The hotkeys are limited. You kind of get what you get. You can assign buy on the ask, sell on the bid, but you can't make multiple hotkeys. The sizing is a little bit interesting. They restrict you from resizing the window down to a certain point. I would have to use floating windows, which is a little bit awkward. And even then, the sizing is not that great. The interface is intuitive and whatnot. It's good for beginner traders, but I think combined with the fact that I can't make advanced hotkeys and I think the execution speed is going to be slower. I think the reason why a lot of you get instant fills is because you're trading with small size. I watched some videos again, and I think that once you reach a larger share size with Webull, you kind of got to graduate to other platforms because it stops filling instantly. It starts filling quite jaggedly. So I think it's probably good for beginners. Like you don't need advanced hotkeys, you know, buy on the ask, sell on the bid, that's fine. But it's certainly not to the level that I have my hotkey set up right now, where I have profit targets and I have, you know, set up orders, and then I have regular hotkeys to buy on the ask, sell on the bid, sell half on the ask, sell half on the bid. Yeah, Webull Canada, I don't know why it's different from the US version, but it's not good. So I think that endeavor is going to be set to the side. I mean, maybe I might do a video on it someday if I decide to do broker videos. Why I don't like it. But yeah, I tested it and it's a no. It's a no for me. TradeZero is pretty much the only thing that I've found so far. I mean, maybe I could try IBKR at some point. I just don't like their Rule 144. If I ever get frozen in the middle of a trade and the stock comes back down 100%, I can lose an entire position potentially while I'm waiting for them to unfreeze my account. Yeah, Weeble's perfect for that. You can trade with 10 shares, 1 share, 5 shares. Don't have to put in a ton. You can learn. You can use buy on the ask, sell on the bid. That's all you need for a while. Don't have to pay commissions. So ADVB is a bit far down the leading gainers. This would be a continuation for a breakthrough 942. Here's some of this. This did make a big move in after hours, kind of on the backside. Up to 14. Eventually, when I get a $30,000 account, if I can build up an account to reach that amount, then I would probably switch to Centerpoint. Centerpoint Canada. At the very least, I can do videos for Canadian brokers at some point. I have a Webull account. I have a TradeZero account. I have a Questrade account. I still need to make an IBKR account. The only one that I can't do would be Ocean One because it's just straight up banned in Ontario, although it might be available in other parts of Canada. Yeah. The even if you could do that with auto hotkeys, the level 2 is slow. It doesn't show halt bans. It doesn't show halt resumption. So they need to step up their level 2 a little bit. If I recall correctly, the fill speed was kind of slow as well. I remember some of my fills, even with 5 or 10 shares, not filling instantly. But that was 6, 8 months ago. It could be different now. Well, I can leave level 2 unredacted now since I have permission. So you can see for yourself how often it lags on stream. You get a bundle of stuff for free, but it only costs you a $30,000 minimum account size for Centerpoint. What permission did I need? So I thought that Ross Cameron hides his level 2 on his stream because he said before that you're technically not supposed to stream level 2 market data. So when I started streaming, I had that in the back of my mind and I messaged um I didn't I asked AI about it and then I also checked TradeZero's policy and it said that you're not supposed to stream level 2 market data. But I finally decided to message uh TradeZero support to ask them if they would allow me to live stream it. And they said that's fine. So I was a bit worried that if I stream level 2 market data, I could get in trouble because I don't have any options. And if I get banned on TradeZero, like I don't have any other options other than to fund a $30,000 TradeZero or Centerpoint account or bite the bullet and just go to IBKR and hope that they don't freeze me in the middle of a trade. So I was cautious. That's why I redacted the tape for a while. But I got permission yesterday, so even if I get in trouble now, I can say to them, "Hey, you told me this was okay. Why am I getting in trouble?" Yeah, they probably wouldn't. I'm just worried that if I ever got a lot of viewers and my channel started growing, that they could look back at my past streams and be like, "Hey, what are you doing back here?" Or, I mean, I could still be streaming level 2 at that point. I never got permission from them, and then I would get in trouble then. After I'm in the spotlight. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm afraid of. So this breaks through 10. This is on the back side of this move here, so I don't know about this. Not obvious to traders yet. Always so cautious. I mean, yeah, I guess so. I mean, you're not wrong. If I was really that cautious, I wouldn't be trading with 100 shares right now. But maybe that's hubris. So this is kind of forming a 1-minute bull flag if it holds 10. But the risk reward on this isn't that great right now. I don't like all the topping tails back here. And we have a tweezer top kind of on this pullback. Up 45%. Yeah, and it does a false break. I don't know. I think this is a bit too choppy right here. INM is kind of straddling VWAP. But I don't think I'm interested in this until it can crawl back up over maybe 350. Our chart is kind of ruined right now. In fact, let me get rid of, oh, manually get rid of these. The reason being we have 2 higher volume selling candles on the 5-minute, and we have decreasing volume right now. So the chart doesn't look very good. This, to me right now, this looks like it's just selling off. The MACD is still negative. So I would need to see it curl up and hold up. So right around VWAP, there's probably going to be a lot of false breakouts. We already had one here, one false breakout here, 2 false breakouts. I'm not interested in it here. Yeah, the spread is ugly. I mean, it's not too bad for a $10 stock, like 10, 15 cent spreads, 20-cent spreads, but when it's choppy like this, if you get in, you're down 15, 20 cents instantly as it reverses because it's kind of just squiggling. I'd rather just wait for news or for a Chinese stock to pop up. So this is selling off now. We're at 743. Yeah, you see how we're kind of having a bunch of false breakouts around here now? An INM. It's consolidating right now. But although it is, like, these are technically breaks through VWAP, and they're not strong breaks. And our edge, or my edge in my strategy, is looking for trades in areas where there's strength and volume. So because this chart is ruined now, there's not going to be a lot of volume unless it can actually curl and hold. We're going to chop around like this. I'm not gonna come out with a positive EV on trading this here over the long run. Traders aren't really looking at it anymore. This is up how much on the day? This is actually up our top leading gainer right now. Up 96%. I guess it must have pulled back up from down here. I thought it was only up 40%. I guess I haven't been paying enough attention. Yeah, that's 72% from $1.80 up to 3. I mean, it is our top leading gainer. This could still curl, but it would need to break these pivots. And it would be interesting to me above like 350 maybe. So it is curling up here a little bit. MACD's turning positive. But we'll see what this does. It is our leading gainer, yeah. I still had it in the back of my mind when it dropped down here. It was only up like 30 or 40%. Big sellers. Yeah. I see some 5,000 share sellers popping up there as it's popping over 328. 4,000, 5,000 share sellers. 9,000. There's a 9,000 share seller that just popped up there. Yeah, you're right. Do. Okay. So I found the referral link. So I received a recommendation. Jay told me that I have a referral link with TradeZero. I'm gonna post that in the chat. I'm gonna put it in my description and whatnot. I'm not affiliated or anything with TradeZero. This is just a referral link that everybody has. So anyone that wants to sign up with TradeZero can use that link, and then we both get $100 for free, basically. I'll put that in my video description as well. Just a free, I think it said the requirement is that you need to sign up for an account and then place one trade, and then you both get $100, which is kind of cool. I didn't know that it had that. So why am I not using Sage Trader? What is that? Is that another broker? If it's a US broker, I can't use it because I'm a Canadian. I've honestly never heard of Sage Trader. Yeah, it's a US broker, so I can't. I'm a Canadian citizen, so US brokers need to register with Canadian authorities to allow Canadian citizens to use them. So I haven't heard of Sage Trader being available in Canada, so I just can't use it. Yeah, it's not available in Canada, unfortunately. I wish I could test out more brokers, but I cannot. I think Mask is one of those stocks that's just on the no trade list for me. It's just a pop and drop stock all the time. It always sells off and it's always choppy. Is Copra trading available in Canada? I'm seeing on, well, that was 5 years ago. I'm seeing that a bunch of people are saying, just from a quick internet search, that it's not available in Canada. We go directly to their website. NCDs, are you a Canadian citizen that currently uses Cobra? Like, were you able to open an account with them and actually trade with them? Hey, Ben Thompson. I am a Warrior Trading member and I used to use their charts and scanners, but I don't use their charts and scanners anymore because of how expensive they are. They're like $197 a month. So I'm saving about $60 a month right now between just having TradingView charts and the Charts Watcher scanners set up to be similar to the Day Trade Dash scanners. But that's also with discounts on an annual sub for TradingView as well. Oh, well, if it's not actually legal, like if it's not legally registered with Canadian authorities and you open an account with a trading firm that you're not supposed to, you can get in trouble for that. For like tax reasons and stuff. Because technically I reported my business losses last year from trading, even though it wasn't very much. It was like a couple $1,000. But if I continue reporting my losses and a tax audit ever reaches out to me, they're gonna ask me for my my tax slips. So if I register with a US authority that's not registered with Canada to like make tax slips and stuff, I'm gonna get in trouble. Yeah, I would prefer that. I mean, and trouble, I guess trouble is kind of a loose word. Like I'm not exactly sure what they would do. I might not even get in trouble, but technically I'm supposed to be. This is my cautious side airing again, I suppose. There's a lot of things that people do illegally in Canada that they don't get in trouble for. So, to the extent that they would care, I'm not sure. Webull is free with level 2 data, $10 a month. Yeah, I checked out Webull the other day. I just don't like Webull. So Webull, if you're talking about Webull USA is different from Webull Canada. Webull Canada doesn't have a lot of the interface options that Webull USA does. So it's a bit different. And Webull Canada doesn't have like really customizable hotkeys. They have buy on the ask, sell on the bid, you know, the basic stuff that you can assign hotkeys to, but you can't create extra hotkeys or advanced hotkeys. So it's kind of a no-go for me, unfortunately. I don't, yeah, I don't know why Canada's like this. They don't like day trading. They don't like day traders here. That's why Questrade is able to be a bit more of a niche market. Ben Thompson asks about my profitability and stuff. So I'm currently not a profitable trader. I am at best a barely break-even trader, slightly in the red. At worst, I'm losing on commissions. In the past 30 days, I've been doing a lot better. My profit loss ratio has been really good. Over 2 to 1, 3 to 1, but my accuracy has been poor. So right now I'm focusing on an accuracy problem, which has to do with, I think, my hesitation in getting into trades where sometimes I hesitate on the trades that are good on the front side of the move, and then eventually I kind of reach a capitulation point where I'm like, I'm just gonna take a trade, and then I take a trade and it's red, and I'm like, oh gosh darn it. I'm still working on that, but I am a student of Warrior Trading, and I have bought their courses. So I have, and I worked through all of the courses, and I have a lot of the knowledge required. And I've been trading for 11 months now, going on a year here at the end of July, beginning of August. It'll be my 1 year trading anniversary. But we're working on consistency. Socialism. Well, hopefully the rumor that I heard about Canada trying to prevent residents from leaving and going to other countries isn't true. Eventually, if I make enough money and I become self-sufficient and self-employed, I'd probably look to move to the US, considering day trading and stuff would be my job, and there would be a lot more networking I could do in the US. So I'm watching for news here. Hey, your adversary. INM not looking too hot. Yeah, INM looked like it might have been able to curl back up, but now it's just selling off again. Sorry if I missed some people's comments right away. I'm kind of trying to answer and watch charts at the same time. It doesn't look like we're having any news here at 8, sadly. Break even is great after my first year. Thank you. Yeah, it's gonna be a long road. But you know what? I might as well just show everyone for transparency because I've been getting a lot of viewers recently compared to like I've been streaming for 4 or 5 months now, but in the past couple of weeks I've had an influx of people. But I'll show my trader view just to be transparent. I'm gonna put it here. I don't want to cover my scanners. I'll just leave it up here. Getting recaps. This trader view. LABT popping up. Sorry, this might have to wait. LABT. Biotech stock up 38%. News came out at 8:02. Popping up. Less than a 1 million share float. Big topping tail. Oof. The daily doesn't look very nice. So I'm a little bit worried about this topping tail. The high of 365. Wow, look at that. Color popping up there. I honestly didn't think that I was going to push through there. Like if you look at this right here, it pulled back from 360 all the way down to 280 with a topping tail, and it had a big topping tail on that 1 minute. And now this is our leading gainer. Yeah, it's gonna crash now. I mean, what do you guys think? Should I have taken this right here? Like this is what the chart looked like at this point. It had a topping tail from 365 down to 250. It was sort of a bull flag. I mean, if you look at this right here, I suppose lower volume selling. But it kind of had a tweezer top here. Yeah, I'm thinking that I don't take this trade. And I didn't, but like what I'm looking for is a clean 1 minute candle without a topping tail. Like Ross took this trade, but the entry was at $3. $4 for the micro pullback. Rolling right now. Yeah, the front side has been the sentiment for sure. $22,000 share seller popping up there. Many topping tails. You got big sellers popping up there on the level 2, 10,000 share sellers, 20,000 share sellers. Yeah, it can be a bit frustrating for me to watch something like this happen and not take the trade. But when you look at the chart, like entry at $3, micro pullback, and $4 for the second micro pullback. Yeah, maybe. In the moment, it doesn't look very nice with the topping tail, but the selling volume was lower selling volume, and it did hold the 9 EMA. I don't have a 200 on the daily yet on LABT. This was an IPO, so it shouldn't have a daily 200 moving average yet. Lots of topping tails on this thing. So we have a topping tail up there at 594. 594, 595. We're kind of holding the 20 EMA here. And you might be right about that descending resistance potentially. See what it does here. Does it break or does it flush? I'm still waiting for a setup, but we're decreasing in volume. We got three topping tails. You don't include this green candle. Ross is still optimistic about this. He's in it with a position right now. Good call. Break then flush. Hasn't flushed yet, but that was a false break. I think this descending resistance was applicable for a little bit, but so what does it do up here? It breaks 6. Breaks all the way up to 7. So does it do a cup and handle here? What does it do? We're still waiting for a setup. For it to give us a setup that's a part of my my playbook. Nothing here was part of my playbook. So if it does a cup and handle here and it holds, now we're looking at potentially something for my playbook. We might have some ascending resistance. Happy Meal money. At least you got some money on it, Momentum Trader. I've been having a tough time dealing with these topping tails because it makes me feel like everything's going to be a false breakout. With all these tails, I'm like in the woods, afraid that something's going to jump out at me. If I get into a trade, I'm going to step into a ditch. I want to take a trade, but I want a proper setup here. Like a bull flag or an ABCD pattern. This was kind of an ABCD pattern with, if you include this false breakout candle. A, B, C, D. But I mean, this isn't really a proper setup either because we're pulling back from 687 all the way down $1 a share. So what do we do here? This isn't quite a cup and handle pattern yet. We might be forming, I mean, we probably have to finish waiting for this 5-minute candle to pull back. Then maybe we get a 5-minute breakout, but it's kind of extended. 90 EMAs all the way down at 4. So I'm waiting for the opportune moment to jump, to pounce. MACD's close to crossing over now. Trying to think. Obviously, the easiest part of the move was the front side of the move, as it usually is. As we're getting into these 1 minute pullbacks, we just have a bunch of false breakouts. I mean, Ross was optimistic and he did take trades here. Yeah, he does have a lot of experience. What is this? Oh, that had 7 a.m. news, the volume. XSTC selling off. Yeah, we'll have to see if this does curl back up and forms maybe a 5 minute pattern. For right now, MACD's negative now. It's kind of selling off a little bit. There wasn't really a clean setup on the 1 minute. There might have been a clean setup on the 10-second back here. Might do a little bit of review. I'm wondering if maybe I should be looking at volume bars instead of like how far the stock is pulling back. Because it is true that this had higher volume buying, increasing buying, lower volume selling. Even though it was scary that it's pulling back $1 a share, maybe I should be looking at volume bars and whether the 9 is holding. And if it's forming a pattern, it's possible that I should have taken this trade right here. I'm trying to be realistic with myself. We'll see. I'll continue keeping an eye on that. But I do prefer a 1 minute candle close. Like maybe when did this candle close? The candle closed, first 1 minute candle closed before any pattern formed on the 10-second. Other than like one micro pullback. Volume is okay. I think I need to study that some more. Since I can look like a reverse head and shoulder. Not sure about that. Oops. So this is kind of a 5-minute bull flag, but MACD is still negative here. Let's get rid of this ascending support line, ascending resistance line for now. MACD's negative, so we're gonna wait, see if it does a curl. Got a new high at 741. I think we're looking for MACD to turn positive and potentially break through 7. Nice job, K-Man. Yeah, making it back is good. So it's popping up right here. MACD's turning positive. Let's zoom in. Does this hold 7? Looks like this ascending resistance is in fact applicable. "25 seconds left on that candle. My target would be around 775, but we have a 30,000 share seller popping up there. Higher volume selling. They're about equal. So low of 675. Does it hold 675? I have this as 725. Another 30,000 share seller popping up there. Yeah, you can see some pretty big sellers popping up there. So even though this popped up here, there was no setup for me again. No MACD. MACD's not positive. Two topping tails in a row. I was hoping that this would hold and then we can get a breakthrough. I had a dumb trade on ADVB for a small loss and a great trade on LABT. Oh yeah, I already read that. Yeah, I'll I had my trader view open. I was gonna show it, but I don't know. I don't wanna show it while I'm. Well, there's potentially a trade here, if in case this pops up again. I'll get to it. But we're just gonna see whether or not this holds up or what it does up here. Nice job, Gara Valdez. So this is kind of looking like a 5-minute ABCD pattern now. If this can break back over 7. Although we got these topping tails, but all right, so what does it do here? MACD's negative. We have 40 seconds left on that 5-minute candle. 78 resistance. Just climbing up a bit. That doesn't look like it's viable. We have a minute 30 till this 5-minute candle close. And it does keep projecting at that 678. I'm thinking maybe if it breaks through 678 and 7, then maybe it's going to crawl back up. This could be a 5-minute ABCD or a bull flag pattern. This is our top leading gainer. But MACD is still negative right now, but if I wait for MACD, it might keep going without me. That's the only thing. We're waiting for MACD to curl a little bit here. 19 seconds left on that 5-minute candle. So it pops for 7, comes back down. Does it continue to push higher and cause MACD to turn positive? What does it do here? $25,000 share seller popping up. So I'm thinking if this curls back up and reclaims 725, then MACD is going to turn positive and we might get a push through. If it continues holding down here. So I'm waiting patiently for this setup to form. MACD's still negative. Yeah, it's struggling. I'm hoping it gives us another opportunity. Not for any particular reason except that I don't want today to be a third no trade day. That would be no good. But we'll see if this curls back up. If it flushes, it flushes, and then I'm just gonna have to take the no trade day. But trying to zoom in on this to try and catch this pop if it happens. So MACD is starting to curl a little bit. -8. What does it do? We have 1 minute left on this 5-minute candle. What I'm doing is I'm remaining focused on the level 2 because we've been having recently these spikes of volume that pushes it through a certain level and causes it to go higher. So at any point here, we can have MACD close to turning positive and we get a spike of volume. Yeah, now it broke down that 650 level. Get bought back up. Yeah, broke down and got bought back up there. 25,000 share seller popping up there. Breaking down again. Interesting. It drops down to 6 and it's getting bought back up again. At minute 40 on that 5-minute candle that's closing with a bottoming tail. I was actually thinking about doing the same thing. It's pretty strong when it gets bought up off of that previous level like that. But MACD's still negative, so I'm still not sure. I was thinking maybe for first 5-minute candle to make a new high here above 660. For a 5-minute breakout. I'm still unsure. Yep, for sure. I still think at any point here this could spike. We're still technically holding around this $6 level. Close to 9 a.m. Let's see what it does here. MACD's curling. Oh, really? Hmm. Yeah, it's pretty whippy. I'm thinking here, potentially, if this continues holding, that this is going to eventually spike through 7. We got a minute left on our green 5-minute candle there. MACD's close to curling here. So I'm watching, see what it does. So let's see. Does it continue holding 6? Because MACD is still kind of close. So if it holds and then it gets bought back up here, then maybe, but kind of unfortunate that it's selling off right there. So I think maybe 675, 690. Somewhere in the 675 to $7 level would be the pivot potentially for a buy if it came back up here with MACD positive, but it might be done. Yeah. We just have to see what it does here as it gets close to the opening bell. I suppose while we wait for it to curl, I will show my trading view since it's pretty far down there now, but I'm going to keep an eye on it. It decides to start curling back up. If it suddenly spikes on me while I'm showing, then I'll be sad, but it'll be what it'll be, I suppose. So my all-time report, we'll go to the calendar first. You can see on my calendar that I have a mix of green and red days. Not too fantastic. It started since March. Around March, April was when I first started live streaming, so I had cleaned my metrics before March to prepare for streaming. So all of my streaming days here for April, May, June, July, you can reconcile these all back to my streams. I don't do off-stream trades, so, you know, minus 44 red month April, minus $106 in May, which wasn't great, minus $67 in June, wasn't great. Doing better here in July. I have a green month so far. But overall on the details, oh yeah, and I had a good green month way back in March, 155 bucks. I mean, overall, right, we're minus $43 total gain or loss over 200 trades. So it's basically break even, slightly negative right now over the course of how many months? 4 months, right? My accuracy isn't great. My profit loss ratio is above 1 on my overall statistics there. And I'm losing on commissions. Half of my trades were in sim, half were with real money. I'm basically losing in commissions, right? And there were a couple of bigger red days, yeah. Like back in May, no. Yeah, I'm having some green days, but I'm having bigger red days than green days sometimes. But my profit loss ratio is still good. Like this was my biggest red day, I think, was $113. But my profit loss ratio is still like above 1 to 1. But in the past 30 days, I've been doing better. All right, this is my statistics for the past 30 days. My profit loss ratio is like 3 to 1. 1836 is like 2.5, maybe not 3. My profit loss ratio is good, but my accuracy isn't good. My total number of trades is pretty small for the past 30 days, so I've been really focusing on quality over quantity. And that's helped my profit loss ratio really explode. But my accuracy is the problem right now. And I think the reason for that is because I'm hesitating too much now. Back in the past, my daily volume is a lot more. Like my daily volume recently in the past 30 days is 360. But overall, my daily volume was over 600. So I've really decreased my volume to focus on stock selection and quality of the stocks that I'm selecting. Right? And it's really improved my profit loss ratio by a lot. When I'm right, I'm right. Even though I'm only right 37% of the time, I'm still net profitable in the past 30 days because I've been taking trades on really high risk, that have really high reward. But I'm missing opportunities on the front side of the moves where I could be taking good trades. And I eventually capitulate and get in on the backside. So not so good. So we're trying to fix this right now. So my first order of business is fixing my accuracy and taking advantage of the opportunities that are presented to me. And then my next order of business will be making the green days bigger. So that's what it is right now, right? Just for transparency. So technically not profitable, but doing better recently. And it seems like I do better earlier on in the day here. Performance by hour of day, 6 and or 7 a.m. Odd. Something's not right about this. I don't have any filters selected. Why does it say my redo it? Yeah, undo the filters. There we go. Fine. Yeah, so this is right now. So I've been doing worse on lower price stocks for some reason. Less than $2, less than $5 even, and I've been doing okay on $5 to $10 stocks. The $5 to $10 I guess is the sweet spot for me. But I still need to, like, I know $2 to $4 stocks are good, but I've been doing worse of them because they move a bit slower, I think. And then I do worse on higher price stocks because usually they have bigger ranges and they're a bit more difficult for me to handle. But I think above $5 I've been doing pretty well. Yeah, see, I do bad. I do worse when it has less range, but I do better as it gets to be bigger ranges, I suppose. Most of my trades are with upwards of 5.0 relative volume for stock selection and whatnot. But yeah, that's that. Since someone asked me earlier what my profitability was, that's where I'm at right now, 11 months into my journey. But I think, well, yeah, I don't count. I don't count paying for subscriptions and stuff. I suppose I could, but that would be really depressing. Technically, everyone that's not trading with more than like 1,000 shares is going to be red if they include their subscriptions and stuff. Because I doubt anyone trading with 50 or 100 shares is going to make enough money to, unless they're like really profitable, to pay for all of their data and subscription software, like a couple $100 a month. Anyone that's new, that's a beginner, by the way, it's not bad. You know, I'm getting there. I'm kind of picking the right stocks and I'm picking the right setups. But I am I think my problem is hesitation right now. Between yesterday and today, yesterday if I had taken that trade on VIVK, that was a dollar, like that was a $1.25 I think move, like over a 1 point move. And that was clearly in my setups. I should have taken that. Here there wasn't really a setup for me except for, I mean, if I had taken the risk to buy on the first couple of 1 minute candles, even though that there were topping tails. I'm kind of looking for unicorns, honestly. Right? Perfect setups. And it's difficult to find perfect setups. They don't appear very often. The question is, what's going to be my conviction to get into the trade, even though it's not a perfect setup? I need to figure that out. What's going to be my conviction? to say that I can take this trade, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Because in the past week, maybe in the past 7 trading days, I can think of at least 3 examples of trades that I should have taken, even though they weren't perfect setups, that would have given me a nice boost. Trades that Ross has taken as well, right? And the good news is that this is really kind of just an experience problem, the accuracy and the hesitation. The longer I sit here and read these trades and actually take them to heart and review them, the more conviction that I'll get over time to actually continue taking, or to take those trades in the future when I see them. That's kind of the stance I'm taking right now. Have a good day, Gara Valdez. ZCMD seems to be sneaking up from the depths of hell. Yeah. It looks like a grinder to me, sadly. I want to take a trade, but I can't if I don't have a third no trade day because I'll feel kind of bad about it. But I think that's the exact problem, is that I don't take trades when the moves are good sometimes, and then eventually I'm just like, I should just take a trade. That's not the way to approach it. I gotta have some conviction in the trades that I'm taking. Seems the first and second micro pullbacks on the 10-second, first and second pullbacks on the 1-minute chart work, but I always miss those and trade the chop. Yeah, theoretically, the first and second pullbacks on the 10-second, right as it's popping up, usually seem to be the best. But the thing is, like, how do you distinguish between a good first and second pullback on the 10-second, whether it's going to flush? Because what I saw when I looked at LABT earlier, I'm like, this thing has huge range. Like, this thing is risky. Like, when we look way back here, the pullback on the 10-second, like, it doesn't look so bad when it's zoomed out, but when you zoom it in, it pulled back from 360 all the way back to 280. So that's an 80-cent range. So when I think of first and second pullbacks, I think of like shallow pullbacks showing that it's holding a level, because if it's pulling back too much, then I'm kind of like, is this just going to flush? Or, you know, what's going to happen with this? Because we have a topping tail. And it pulls back quite a bit. But I suppose it's better to look at the volume bars than it is to look at the actual ranges. Maybe I should keep the ranges in mind and trade with smaller share size if they're bigger ranges, because that means that there's more reward potential. Like, even if I had just jumped in with 20 shares here, maybe added on the second pullback another 20 shares. But even if I didn't add on the second pullback, 20 shares from like I don't know, let's say I got in on the second pullback at 320. I traded 20 shares, like small share size to account for the big ranges. It pops up all the way up to $7. Let's say I don't capture the full thing. Maybe I capture 50% of it. Maybe I capture it up to 6. Like, that's still $3 times 20 shares, still $60. That's great risk reward, even if it pulls back 50 cents. So I'm thinking maybe I should just watch the volume bars and watch to see if it's holding a certain level and if it's forming a pattern, rather than just not take the trade because of the huge ranges. Because the huge ranges could be a bonus, but I should just jump in with smaller size. Because this was a setup. Like if you look at this without even looking at the ranges, yes, there's a topping tail, but it's still higher volume buying, increasing volume, and it's holding the 9 EMA. The 1 minute chart didn't look so fantastic. Looked like this. But I don't know. Like I've been tending to prefer to use the 1 minute chart, because sometimes a 10-second can be a bit noisy. VIVK was nice, gained $100 from it. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was a good setup. So to come to the conclusions, the conviction to take the trade is down to being confutable to take the risk, and it's built up over time. Yeah. It comes down to being able to stomach the risk. Rate of change in price action. It has to be a rate of change, which comes with intuition. I watched I watched the video that was posted in the Day Traders Hangout, posted by Vito. He makes some good points. We got the opening bell in 10 minutes. So we're just waiting for the opening bell. Have to only take the first and second micro pullback after you switch to the 1 minute. That's not always the case. If something is really strong, sometimes it can have third and fourth micro pullbacks, but yeah, it's not as often. Usually the first and second are the most consistent. Sometimes what I'll see Ross do is he'll jump in on the first micro pullback, or right as the stock is spiking up if he's confident in it, with like just very small share size, 1,000, 2,000 shares. And then he'll hold it for the first micro pullback and he'll add, and then he'll hold for the second micro pullback and then he'll add, and then he'll take some profit up near the third, but then he'll hold a small amount, or he'll continue adding if he thinks it's going parabolic. But that's kind of like the next stage of trading almost. Adding to your winners if you have conviction that it's going to keep going higher, rather than just telling yourself strictly, this is going to do this. Like it's like you can only trade the first and second pullbacks. It comes down to some intuition as well, I think. But we don't have that intuition yet as traders who've only been trading less than a year. He did trade LABT. He made 40 grand on LABT. So Ross, I think he jumped in on the second pullback. I think he did trade. He did trade the second pullback here. But I think he bought it right when it spiked here for the break above 360. This kind of double top looking thing above 365. That's where he bought, and that's where it kind of went and spiked. So he bought like right there. And then he also bought as this was climbing. I think he bought right around here. And then he bought around here. So he had optimism in this stock. Even though it had these topping tails, he had optimism and kept buying the dips. We're all learning here, adversary. What's the app called on the left side of the screen? It's called Charts Watcher. In my description, I'm gonna put as well. I'm gonna put some. Let's see. I'm gonna put my Trade Zero link. Trade Zero referral link. Have a good one, Eli. We'll see if we can get a trade on this at the open, maybe if it holds up. I can't trade the first 3 1-minute candles since my Trade Zero lags. You'll be able to see that now. Thanks, PRAV, or Prav, however you prefer me to pronounce your name. Where do I get level 2 information from? Well, you have to subscribe to level 2 market data for whatever broker you're using. It depends on what broker you're using. For Trade Zero specifically, you have market depth, right? Market depth window. I believe that's the correct one. But you won't get it unless you subscribe to level 2 market data, and you need to fill out some agreements and whatnot. So you have to check with your broker where you get that from. This is a nice big topping tail for us right before the open. Isn't that great? So market open in 30 seconds here. Use CapTrader. Okay, I haven't used CapTrader because it's not available in Canada, unfortunately. But it's usually the same for most brokers. You just have to subscribe to level 2 market data, fill out a market data agreement stating that you're not what purpose you're using it for. Like, are you a retail trader? Are you a professional trader? And then you have to pay a monthly fee. And then you'll have access to it on your broker. This isn't a cup and handle yet. No. A cup and handle for me would be if it came up to 7 and did a pullback, like a 1-minute pullback before breaking through. So it's a little bit far from high of day for it to be a cup and handle for me. This is still a curl. But if it holds up now, because it did pop up close to 7, if it holds up and curls up near 7, then it could be a kind of a cup and handle. But this is why we don't trade the first few minutes of the open, because stuff like this happens. So this could be a red to green move above 630. We're bouncing off that 595 level down there. So 3 seconds left to that candle close. It breaks. I'll take a position, stop us 630, looking for the squeeze through 650. Stalling out. I'm just going to take the loss. We're forming a topping tail. There, I'm red, but I overcame my fear. So right there was potentially a red to green move. Since we formed a bottoming tail candle there, we have that panic sell off at the open, and then as it reclaimed 630, I bought looking for the squeeze back up to 685. So we took a trade. It ended up being red. It is what it is. We only took 50 shares though, because it was a bit riskier. But that was a gap and go setup for a potential red to green move there. You got the 927 candle. Nice. But now I have to analyze whether or not this was a good trade. So we did have, big topping tail, but this is our leading gainer up 215%. It is very possible that, I think it's very possible that up here for first candle to make a new high above 630, that it could have broke through 650 and went up to 685. We see these red green moves all the time. We have the panic sell-off, we have the bounce off of a certain level, and then it comes back up, and then it eventually breaks through and halts up. Right here, MACD was still, I think it was still positive, or it was very close to being positive. It was around zeroed, so. Similar trade, yeah. Pretty similar. Yeah, I don't think this was a bad trade. I could be wrong. I think this was a legitimate potential for a red green move because we double bottomed on the 10-second on 595. Usually I buy on red green moves about 50% of the way back up, which is around 630. So I mean, I got in 12 cents higher than that candle there, which was not so great. But I mean, the clarification, right, is that I'm taking riskier trades later in the day after missing all of this back here. Which is why my accuracy is kind of poor. If I had taken this, dollar per share trade earlier, then I wouldn't be red right now. But we finally took a trade and it didn't work out, and it was not the easiest money trade of the day. Yeah, that's true for the float. Actually, LABT, if it finishes forming this 5-minute candle, this might actually be an even better red to green move. Above 605. probably don't want to trade that halt resumption on ZCMD. MACD's still negative on this. So it didn't really, it formed a spinning top there. So this is supposed to resume. I mean, this is what a, wow, it's resuming all the way up at 339. It's not resuming because it's in a 15-minute halt right now. Because it's resuming all the way up at 344. So it's going to keep extending the halt if it keeps going higher to give traders more time to digest why it's resuming so much higher than its halt price. The next halt resumption time would be 3:46:30. 3:46:30. Oh, sorry, 9:46:30. I don't know why I said 3. True, if I was in it, it would resume down at $2. So this is a Chinese stock. It's possible that some people, I mean, the Chinese stocks have been moving recently, right? So some people are probably going to jump on this with FOMO from the last Chinese stocks that have just halted up continuously. Has a lot of volume. So, I mean, maybe we could trade a dip and rip on this. We'll see. It is our second or our third leading gainer. EDVB. Yeah, it's coming up. It's a little bit more expensive to my liking right now, though. We're going to watch the resumption on this in minute 30. I'll swap to ADVB for a second just to check. Oh yeah, ADVB is also halting up. But this is still kind of on the backside of a big move. Whereas I think ZCMD is a bit, yeah, I think it's fresh. This is resuming in 30 seconds, potentially. It could go for another 5 minutes. We'll see if it resumes here or not. So I'd be looking for a dip maybe down to 325 to buy the rip through 350. It would go straight into another halt. Wow. No dip at all. Holy smokes. It's going to resume pretty high now. You can see sort of a bottoming tail on this all the way down at 3, but that's only because so many people were mashing the buy button that they on the level 2 there was basically no dip at all, but everything got bought up instantly. It's a little bit risky for me to buy it up here now in the second halt. I suppose I could have tried to hotkey in, but you never know what these Chinese stocks are going to do. If I get filled up a dollar share too high and then it flushes back down, it's it can be risky. I'd rather not hotkey into dip and rips. Resuming up at 5 now. Pretty insane. Yeah, I mean, these are kind of gambling, honestly, buying in the dip and rip sometimes. The reason why I was considering doing it here is because Chinese stocks have been moving so much recently that you probably do have a positive EV on buying this dip and rip because it has a higher probability of moving considering we just had 2 or 3 days in a row of Chinese stocks halting up continuously. So I would say that I mean, it is a generally buying halts are a gamble, but I think buying this halt in particular a bit less of a gamble, more of a calculated gamble. Now, as we're getting up to the second resumption, the third resumption, it starts getting a little bit more questionable. Now we start getting into like more gambling up here. Usually, I think Ross's rules are you get in on the first and second halts, and then after that, you don't touch it anymore. So this is the second halt, so it might still be okay to buy a dip and rip on this. It continues ripping up. It might not go into a third haul, but it probably will dip and rip, and you can probably get a quick scalp. But it could just continue halting up because of these Chinese stock. This Chinese stock momentum has been kind of crazy. It could also just flush that whenever they decide to press the sell button. So this is resuming at 9:51:48 potentially, but it could be a 10-minute halt because we held it up $1 a share. TCP man, yeah. So does this resume here or not? Looks like it's not because at the very last minute there, a bunch of buy orders went through and it popped up to 5:30. So it's going to do a 10-minute halt. I don't see anything else particularly interesting to me. Um, Ended up halting down. So I'll wait around for this particular halt. We'll see if we can get in with 20 shares. I'm just going to take small share size on this for the second halt, considering what these Chinese stocks have been doing recently. But I'm still looking for a dip and rip. If it goes straight into a rip, I'm not buying it. So I'm looking for potentially, if it resumes at 5, I'm looking for a dip at 5 or 475, and then a rip back through 550. Maybe just for a scalp. Might not hold it into the halt. This should be resuming in 48 seconds. Is it, I guess it's doing another 15-minute halt. Well, I have to get to work soon. I can't wait around all day for this. Working and trading. Oh yeah, ADVB is down at 29% now. Oh, it even resumed below VWAP. That's nasty. And LABT looks like it's just selling off now. Oh, really? Yeah, that's pretty nasty resumption there on ADVB. it had a good dip and rip there. It resumed at 10, ripped all the way to 11. Could have got a quick scalp on it before it dumped. But the bag holders got smoked. So this should be resuming at 51 or 10:01:48. So I'll stick around for this halt resumption and see if I can get again just 20 shares on a dip for a quick scalp. But if it extends another 5 minutes, I'm probably just gonna go to work. So I gotta get off soon. Yeah, one or the other. I'm only gonna take 20 shares here. I'm still optimistic about it being a Chinese stock, since yesterday we had a good Chinese rip, and then the day before we had that one stock that literally went into 8 consecutive halts. Before it finally tanked. You got to be in on the front side, not the back side. So we'll see here. It's a lot of people hitting the buy button, causing it to move up a little bit on the resumption price. So we got a 20 share order loaded. We'll see if it bounces off of 5 or if it just goes straight into another one. No, it looks like it's going into a 20-minute halt. Unfortunately, I can't wait around all day for this. I have to go to work. So I think I'm going to call it here. Sorry, but it just is what it is. I think we just got to accept the red day. It is entirely possible that this just dumps anyways, and I end up further in the red. I think we're going to take the red day today. But this is a really good example of a day where I finally cave and take a trade, even though I don't think that this red to green move was necessarily bad. Had a nice bottoming tail for potentially a squeeze back up to 684 or 7. I don't think it was bad, but this is a good example of a day where I end up taking a trade later in the day after the easiest money trades are already done, when I probably should have taken a trade somewhere back here as it was going up 200%, and I end up red on the day, which is why my accuracy is kind of poor. Probably should have gotten in on the 10-second micro pullbacks on the first 1 or 2 minute candles, even with the topping tail, because the volume profile looked good. It was a biotech stock with news. It ticked all the boxes. Around the middle here, it was kind of questionable. There were a ton of topping tails. I mean, Ross was optimistic about it, but I don't know. There wasn't really a setup for me here. Maybe this could be considered an ABCD pattern, but we have higher volume selling candle, a false breakout preceding it. So I'm not sure about that. And then right here, there was still no setup for me. MACD did cross positive very briefly, but MACD was still negative when it went. So I think the easiest money trade was definitely in the first three 1 minute candles, but after that, it was kind of questionable. But we ended up red today because we didn't take that trade. And we're now run on the week because I didn't take that trade on BIVK yesterday when I should have. So we're going to try and come in tomorrow and have some more conviction in the setups. Maybe if it has bigger ranges, but it still looks good on the volume profile and on the 9 EMA, I'll take smaller share size because I need to get rid of some of the hesitation that's keeping me out of trades. And the only way to do that is to trade smaller share size so that I can stomach the risk when I'm jumping in on trades that I'm maybe not as sure about. And then maybe add as it's working. So that's going to be it for me. Thanks to everyone who stopped by today. I'll be back at it again tomorrow, same time. Yep, take care, Momentum Trader. Have a good one, Doom Trades. BIG and Ben, an adversary.